Oh yeah, extra bases with Bristol and Booth and Jeremy. We have we continue to break the number one rule in podcasting. Do you know what the number one rule in podcasting is?
Not be on your phone when it starts?
No, that's probably rule number 32.
Okay.
Rule number one is stick to a schedule. And yeah, we're not good with that because I was covering the NCAA basketball tournament. Of course, all roads led to Houston, and we were tied up with that. And I don't know quite what you were doing. I think, were you traveling?
I was doing all kinds of stuff to finish up, any of the 4 companies that are running right now. So, I was watching the league. I'm doing some stuff with our guys that are coming to the draft. Business stuff, things that need to happen. And, I was in the gym and enjoying my life with the niche with Burn Man. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that too. Bernie and I, we kind of have this thing going, he's, we spent a lot of time together with the miles. I've now got him tattooed on my shoulder, so it is what it is. Bernie, for those of you that have not figured out, you may have heard Bernie bark any number of times. He's a big Texas livestock guard dog, 110 pounds of Anatolian Shepherd and Pyrenees. And he is the most loyal dog you could ever find. And he and I are kind of inseparable. So
well, I hope the two of you don't break up now that now that he's tattooed on your shoulder, your arm. I hope you two don't break up.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to be good,
Okay.
So, we're good there. So now that's what we've been doing, Jason. We've got a lot going on.
It's interesting. During the NCAA basketball tournament, I got a package. I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'll get to that in a minute. We were covering the University of Houston, myself and photojournalist Mike Orta, and I got a package in the mail, and it was from PETA. In fact, the box is right here. I opened it, and inside was this hat.
Arm Barn.
Yeah, so the folks at PETA said, greetings from PETA, our pitch, asking the baseball world to knock it out of the park by swapping the anti-animal term bullpen, which refers to the holding area where terrified bulls are kept before slaughter, with arm barn has been a hit, with teams including the Angels and Giants adopting the animal-friendly replacement. So we've created a line of arm barn-themed merchandise. Words like bullpen, which condone violence towards animals and perpetuate speciesism, a human supremacist worldview, have no place in America's favorite pastime. So we hope this hat will help you to promote respectful language while also blocking the sun, effectively feeding 2 birds with 1 scone. It says, we hope you'll enjoy wearing the enclosed baseball cap this season. It says, bring on the arm barn. It's a blue cap with script writing and a big arm. Wow, Jeremy, that kind of looks like your arm. It's a big arm.
It's a big one.
It's a big arm, but yeah, I got that in the mail. I didn't know the Giants and Angels had adopted that term. Did you know that?
I didn't. More importantly, I didn't know that bullpen had that negative meaning to it. I didn't know that. And that didn't surprise me because, I don't think anybody likes thinking about, the death of animals. I think anybody likes thinking about it. You know what I mean? So, and I don't mind the name Arm Barn. I actually kind of like it. I kind of like the name, Arm Barn. I think it's kind of a fun, reinventive way to talk about the guys down there. And, I don't have a problem with it. I had no idea, though, that bullpen was that. And I will say this, without going too far down the road, there still is something called the food chain here. You know what I mean? And the human supremacist part, you probably lost me on that, but I can say
I don't have
a speciesism. That's right, yeah. Human speciesism. You lost me on that part, but I'm good with the arm barn, and I'm good with being kind to animals and changing some terminology because I like arm barn. That's actually a good one.
Yeah, I it's not a battle that I knew was being waged. Not against it. I just don't know if PETA will come out on the winning side of that one. I just injured list and what we knew as the DL before, I get, that one, IL has now, we're using it, but I don't know if Arm Barn will
Is that why they did that?
huh?
Is that why they did that? I never knew why I don't doesn't bother me. I thought they did it to be more consistent with other sports,
No,
because
I think because not I think it because of the word disabled.
yeah, so they did it because of that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't mind that stuff. We have a better consciousness today than we did before. That's the point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on the bullpen side. I don't know, but again, I like Arm Barn. I
Yeah,
actually
no,
like the way it sounds. It's all
but
right.
if you're listening to a baseball game, they're going to say, "Hey, out in the Angels Arm Barn." I mean, it does sound good, but I don't know if there's that immediate connotation that, oh yeah, they're talking about the place out in the outfield where the relief pitchers are throwing. I
Yeah,
didn't want to
I don't know.
say the name, so
I hear Arm Barn and I start smiling. It
yeah,
sounds like something you would say on the radio. Oh, the Arm Barn. They're down there getting loose in the Arm Barn. So we'll see.
yeah, yeah. While I was in Birmingham, I made sure. In fact, when I heard that the University of Houston was headed to Birmingham, Alabama, the first thing I thought of was Rickwood Field. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go to Rickwood Field. Jeremy, you haven't been to Rickwood Field, have you?
I haven't been to Rickwood Field, but I know what Rickwood Field is. Now, I don't know how many people are going to know what Rickwood Field really is. So I
Well,
don't have an
Rickwood
answer.
Field is a historic baseball stadium. In fact, it is the oldest professional baseball stadium existing in the United States.
Interesting with that, if you watch the Reggie Jackson documentary on Amazon, which I did watch, he's in Birmingham playing in Rickwood. It's
Yep.
there. So,
In fact, when I
um,
was there, they had told me that you'll see Reggie at Rickwood because they came and filmed a segment there. I was lucky enough. They still play baseball there. It's a Division III school that plays there. We went on a Sunday about 12:31. There was a game. And what really strikes me is when you walk into this place, and I'll put the pictures up when we post the podcast, is how massive it appears. And I'll show the picture to Jeremy right now to show him what I'm talking about. But how massive when you walk in. But it's really not a big park. And the reason it looks so massive, is because the field, the way it's constructed, the field is so far away from the grandstand
yeah,
and the seating area. In fact, the lighting system
that's way up there. Yeah,
not only is way up there, it's way out there. It
yeah.
jets out because it has to cover the field. So when you're there, it's amazing how massive it appears. But really, I think it's just our perspective because the field is so far away from the seating area. But if you get a chance to go, I got lucky. There was a game going on. And then as I walked around the stadium, there's all these pictures of the great players who've played there, like Reggie Jackson, whom Jeremy just mentioned. A lot of those great Oakland A's players from the early 70s, they were there coming up through the A's system. So their pictures are on the wall. And when the gift shop was open, so I was able to walk in and check out the gift shop a little bit. And they are still raising money as part of a restoration process. Here's a picture of Reggie they have,
Yep.
which I think was probably used in the
The
documentary as
documentary.
well.
Yep.
But yeah, I was really that was really, I mean, it's always fun and it's work to go cover basketball, but I was really that was like one of the highlights of that trip was to go see Rickwood. I'm surprised. I would have figured that you would have had, maybe you should have an event at Rickwood Field. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I probably could do something in Birmingham. They took down. I want to say they took away Hank Aaron Stadium in Mobile. Let's say that's gone. So maybe that's one to go to is Rickwood. Funny thing about Reggie Jackson, I will say, is that in watching the documentary, I had forgotten that when he was in Oakland, Kansas City first and then Oakland. that he was there to win all three of those World Series rings. So he's got three there.
But he was injured. One of the World Series, he was injured.
The first one. Yeah, but he's got three there. He's got two with the Yankees as a player. I want to say 77 and 79, right? And he's got five with the Yankees as a front office guy. And he's got one with the Astros. He's got 11 World Series rings. Is there anybody else out there in the history of sports that has that many championships besides Red Auerbach?
Bill Russell, maybe.
Well, yeah, maybe because he was playing with. That's ridiculous numbers.
But I thought it was. I found it unique when Reggie, or not unique, but interesting, Reggie describing his relationship with Jim Crane, about why Reggie's very much about people who are self-made, who I think nothing was handed to them. And I think that's why Reggie kind of is drawn to you a little bit as well, Jeremy. Not that he knows a lot of your story, but I think, there's this fact that, by the way, Bill Russell, 11-time NBA champion. He's very much about people who are self-made. And also he had a very revealing interview with Howard Stern before the documentary was released. So I would recommend both if you get the opportunity. Definitely watch. I didn't finish it, the documentary. I got to finish it, but the interview with Howard Stern was really, really good. Really good.
I watched it twice, so I saw it. It was so I wanted to see the part of it because Dave Stewart's in it and Raleigh Fingers is in it. And
I didn't know that he and Dave Stewart was a kid. Did you know that Dave Stewart, how their relationship started? He was a kid outside the stadium, right?
Yeah, and I sent a text to Stu and I said I had no idea that Reggie had that type of impact on you. It was amazing. So anyway.
Well, we don't want to give away the documentary, although you know how it ends. But yeah, so Reggie 77 and 78.
77, 78. Okay. Yeah.
And then 14-time All-Star. And then he is a 3-time champion with the A's, 72, 73, 74.
So it's 5 to
this guy, it's good. It's good that we're getting the people who are baseball fans but don't know the Reggie story. It's great that we're able to get that story because, you look at the athletes today. I mean, Reggie he's one of those athletes, you just know him by one name, Reggie, right? You say the word Reggie, you know for the most part in baseball who you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
So how about these Astros?
How about these Astros? I do think that before we get to the Astros, the biggest surprise thus far, and I know we're only 7 games in, but has there been anything that's really struck you about the beginning of this baseball season? Can I tell you what mine is?
Sure.
I mean, I knew the Rays pitching was good, but to get off to this start, wow.
Yeah, what struck me about this baseball season is that
there's another thing too, which
go ahead.
We'll get to, but go ahead.
The couple times I've been in the ballpark, the innings are taking 3 to 4 minutes. And when you're at home, because I've watched on TV now, right? You don't feel it. It's fine. It moves quick. The action's there. You can get up, go to the fridge, come back. You can do all kinds of things at home where that actually increases the interest because there's less dead time at home on TV. When I'm at the stadium, and I've been, I actually went by twice now. Okay. When I'm at the stadium, I'm not a fan of it. Now, I get it on TV. Like I said, matter of fact, on TV, it makes it more enjoyable. I'll openly say that now that I've watched it. I didn't watch it in spring training, now that I've watched it. I think if you added 5 more seconds to what you have, you probably add about 8 minutes back to the game, and that's enough. You're down to 36 minutes? Is that right? 36 ish. So if you cut it to 2 hours and 45 minutes on average, no one's going to have an issue. You're still 21 minutes or so beneath what it was in older baseball going back 25 years.
I was at the game yesterday at Minute Maid. I wasn't there for the entire one. I was there for innings. I think I got there in the 6th. I didn't feel any difference, Jeremy. I felt it was not a rushed pace. I thought it was good. I'm enjoying it. I think this is the way the game was played decades ago, and I'm all about it. I am all about it.
Well,
doesn't bother me one bit.
Yeah, I get it, and
I mean, I
and
understand when a guy gets knocked down or something happens that a guy might want to collect himself, but they have the opportunity for that timeout. You can get it.
I think there has to be. I don't think it can be as unilateral as it is if it's going to stay. No, it's going to stay. So, look, there needs to be some modifications to it. If we have a problem adding 8 minutes back to the baseball game, I think we have some bigger issues with the future of it. If we have an issue with, for example, the pickoffs, okay, I mean the stolen bases are ridiculous, and it's a running start. It's a running start. Now, it's the complete opposite of what we've had. So it's really refreshing to see it going on, right? Which even though it's not it's not at a pace that can be sustained defensively. In some cases, the pitcher has advantages, and once a guy gets on base, they got advantages. You saw the Mets, the umpire called a strike on Jeff McNeil for Pete Alonso being too far off the base, not getting back in time, which McNeil couldn't do anything, and the MLB issued an apology. Right. So I think there's some tweaking to do. And I think the tweaking has to do with, not being so absolute with it and still keeping the spirit of what you're trying to do. And if you added 5 more seconds back to it, there's no issue. All this stuff goes away. I do think the picks is something they got to work out. I think they got to work that out. 2 picks and the guys are, they're rolling into their jump. They're rolling into it. In one respect, it can take away the one knee down because you can't throw from there. And in other respects, you put both knees on the ground now and don't care because they got a run start. So just catch it and throw it back, So I don't know. It's interesting to watch. I do think it's here to stay. I don't mind it as a concept. I think it's got some tweaking.
Now on to the Astros, 3-4 to start the season. And when you look at the rest of the West, Rangers and Angels have started out 4-2. The Astros are third, 3-4. A's are 2-4, and then the Mariners are 2-5. Granted, we're only a week in, but I think with the Astros right now, you're the top 4, 5, 6 guys, 5 guys, but after that, it's not good. And but here's the thing: when you look at, and I went back and looked at this, and I mentioned it last night on KHOU 11 News at 10. 1-loss records during this golden age of Astros baseball. They've been under 500 in April. They were 7-9 April 25th, 2022. 9-10 April 23rd of 2021. They were 4-5 April 6th of 2019. So 3-4, I'm not going to sweat it. I don't think Astros fans should sweat it, especially when there's no Altuve, there's no Brantley, there's no McCullers. Now, there have been a couple of things like Montero. I wonder how much the World Baseball Classic has played into this. Maybe the bullpen arms like a Montero, not as sharp because maybe he didn't get his regular work in because he's with the WBC. Dusty Baker mentioned about Jeremy Pena that because of the WBC, he didn't get as much playing time or at bats. And maybe that has something to do with his slow start, at least in Dusty's mind. Jeremy, very politely, kind of, I don't want to say push back, but said that the WBC actually made him more game ready. So I think all of it is, who knows? But at this point, I don't think Astros fans should have one iota of concern about the product on the field other than the injuries and how long it's going to take for these guys to get back.
So, each year is different than the last. This 2023 is not 2022. The biggest failure of the offseason, I can't even call it a front office because I'm not sure that's what they had. But the biggest failure of the offseason was not securing depth. That's the failure. It's not about Altuve getting hurt or Brantley not being back. Fine. It's not about signing a break. Fine. None of those things matter if you have nobody to back them up. What happens if Pena or Bregman gets hurt? We've already sniffed that a couple of times. That could happen with Pena for sure. What happens if they get hurt then? You run out Hensley and Dubon. Anybody here feel like that's a World Series winning club? Show of hands. I'm looking. I see no hands raised. The answer is no. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that those guys don't have big league roles or they're not good players. They're good players. What it does mean is that they're not championship winning players right now at the big league level for 2023. That was the failure. If the Astros get through April, and albeit it's a different division than it was before, okay? It's not the same composition as, well, Oakland, I don't know what they're doing. They had 6 fans the other night. It was a record for the last 3 seasons. I don't know what's going on. But if you have if you have the Rangers, which I told you were going to be better, okay? They're going to be better. May not be ready to win the division yet, but they're going to be better. If you have the Mariners, who are not a 2-4 club, okay, that's not it. And you have the Angels, who should be better anyway, right? Than they have been. Rendon's back. Obviously he had an issue with the one fan that was at the game in Oakland. You've got, well, I guess if there's nobody there, you could probably hear him, right? There's like 11 people. The guy's in the third deck. I don't know.
Can you describe him? Yeah, he's one of the 11 people over there.
One guy. It was on the third baseline. Yep, I got him. So, I guess it's a better division. We said it was going to be a better division. So, being 3-4 right now, with the lack of depth they have, is a testament to the players that they've got from last year that are all stars and winning players. If the Astros get through April 500, there's nothing to worry about. If the Astros dig a hole in April, there's a problem. The Astros can get through 500 and turn around in May and play above 500 ball. Let's call it 550. And then get guys back in June and play 600 ball, right? Then they're settling in on the pace they should play the rest of the year. Not necessarily, win 60% of the games, but, certainly get into the playoffs. And, if they get to the playoffs and Lance McCullers comes back about, September from the injury, which is about right, and, you get these guys back on the field, then you might have a chance to win. Now Altuve's Altuve. Looks like June for him. And I guess McCullers probably on the same timeline. So they're going to need some time to work in. Bottom line, the depth is an issue. And the Astros fans out there watching, it's not about the guys at the front line. It's not about the injuries. It's about what's behind that. I got concerns about the rotation, not because of the front four, but because of who's in the back and the lack of depth there. But once again, there's that pesky word, depth. And if you look at the Astros farm system, and I'm just going to say it because I know that, I know these guys listen. I know they do. They get so personal about it. The reality is the drafting and developing in every year before this year since 2015 has been absolutely horrible. So there's nothing left in the system. There's one player here. There's one player there. It's been terrible. I will say this. I had guys who I actually like, okay? And I'm just going to tell people that I had guys that I like, who I trust, actually text me about, this. Guys who had been in Houston before, guys who are, there now. It's not, it has been bad. It's been bad. And, when you talk to Jim Crane about what he did with Dana Brown, not to get off on a tangent here, but he did it to go, as he said publicly, to address their biggest need, which was the draft. That's what he said. That's why he went and got Dana Brown, because he had to address the draft. So if the GM or the owner can say, I had a general manager whose biggest strong suit is scouting to get the draft right, and every writer on the planet can say you're number 61 out of 30 teams in your system, okay? How are you going to get butthurt when I say it? I gave you heads up before it got way down the line. Like I was, let's go, turn it around. Like let's get it moving, and y'all got bent out of shape. Like really, really bent out of shape. Like the fans got bent out of shape. Some of the scouts got bent out of shape. When you're doing a terrible job, clean it up. Like I gave you a runway. You had years to pay attention to what I was telling you, like literally years. And all you did was sit there and went, and now you have the writers and you have the owner that says, I'm hiring somebody to get the draft right. So back to what you have now. There's nothing in the system to be able to help. You can say Corey Lee, you don't need him up here. They don't need him. They don't need him up here. Maldonado's fine. Diaz is fine. Salazar's fine. I liked what Dana did there. Dana says Corey Lee's going to be a stud. Translation, we're letting him play in Sugarland because he's got to play every day because he's all we got to get something back if we need help. Okay? You got Pedro Leon, jury's out there. I mean, you got some guys in AAA that are a little bit older that may be able to help a little bit, here up and down, but there's nothing to come and bring some impact. So you have to use what you have in the big league roster, and you have to be able to move some of those guys for pieces to get something back to help you when you could have signed the depth and kept those guys in the system anyway. So that's the biggest problem with what's going on right now. Get through April 500, a little bit better in May. In June, you start rolling, you'll be all right.
I must mention this. Uploaded today or yesterday to FutureStarsSeries.com is one of your the new members of the team, Joe Doyle, who, wow. His top 400 draft prospects for the 2023 draft. The top 400 prospects. It's live right now on FutureStarsSeries.com. Leading off, no surprise, it's the outfielder from LSU, Dylan Cruz, whom you know very well. But and what kills me, Jeremy, or impresses me, that should be more the word. There's a write-up on 400 of these guys. It's not like some of these other places where they give you maybe the top 100 and then they just do a list. He's written up profiles on all 400.
Yeah, so, the thing about Joe is Joe works for FSS Digital, okay, which is the online arm. It posts to FutureStarsSeries.com. It does TV. He works with Jason Churchill on that side and some of our marketing people and our digital content. He does not write for Future Stars Series, which is the events, right? So we have to separate that. Future Stars Series is the events that we put on. Those players and those events are selected by Gordon Blakely and Jeremy Booth, okay? And those are the guys we like that we think are big league prospects. And you can't have 400 of those. That's not how that works. So Joe's looking at a much bigger picture. He's talking to colleges included in this, obviously, with Dylan Cruz and Tommy Troy, who's number 8, one of our guys as well. He's listening to scouts. That 400 is going to shuffle up and down and move all around all year, okay? Because it changes up until the draft. It is not my list. It is not Gordon's list. It is Joe's list. And I told Joe when he went to digital that he could write what he wanted to write, but to understand that was his list. And I got to say that enough because my list is a scouting list, right? So his list is a draft ranking, which is what that is over there. So when it comes to that, what Joe is he's thorough. There's nothing if he's not thorough. You may disagree, you may agree with it, but he's thorough. And he talks to people, and he has network and contacts, and he does put some scouting process into his decision making. Now he doesn't go see these players; he hasn't seen them, so he's writing them from what he's hearing and what he's getting and things like that. But he does have an understanding of analysis. He's on video and does some stuff that way. So he's done a good job getting that content out for FutureStarsSeries.com. Helping the digital entity, get up and running here. FSS Digital, him and Jason Churchill. So I'm excited to see what he can do. But yeah, 400 players with two guys in FSS alum in the top 10.
Yeah, and I like how on this site, and I don't know whose idea this was, but to put the little Future Star Series logo next to the players that have been a part of your program.
Well, so that funny thing about
it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's nice that someone actually thought it. Jason, executed it.
Jason and Joe are very, very good at understanding how to separate that, right? I mean, obviously, it's not Future Stars Series, which is
not your list. I get it.
But it is a sister company, if you will, FSS Digital, right? So
now, will they come to you about this, or was this the editorial control is on there, and they would come to talk to you, or does that come later in the draft, or Jason?
As the president,
we haven't decided yet.
As the president and CEO of every entity we have here, I have final say over everything because I'm the guy that writes the check. But what I will say is that my creative license, much as I would like for myself, allows these guys to write what they want. If I think they're grossly out of line and I see something, I told them I'm going to tell them. Okay. But when it comes to something that is a matter of perspective,
yeah,
For example, guys are
Like a
5
guy
to
who's
6 people.
57 and you think he should be 47 or
Yeah,
87.
I'm not going to argue that because in a month it's going to go that way, right? It's just the way it works. So, this is if you look at the site, we've ranked. Joe has ranked all 30 major league clubs. I don't know if all 30 are out yet, but he's done that with their systems. And the Astros came in a resounding 61st. That's how I said that. I used Joe's ranking. So, but no, seriously, he's done a good job with that, getting that stuff out there. The site has a different look to it, and that's Jason and Joe as far as what they're doing there. Now,
quickly, 2 minutes, by the way, 2 minutes to go.
It's okay. Navigating that site, you'll be able to tell the difference between the content that's written and is consumable for certain people and through the digital arm and the stuff that is just it's events and Mike Ashmore and players and driven and stuff along that line. And so it really is two different sides coming together, which is a pretty good look. I expect that top 400, and I'll stop here. I do expect that top 400 to change. People in the North are just getting to start playing. There's a left-hander named KHOU out there in California who's 6'5", 96 with 4 pitches. There's a kid down here in South Texas named Javi Torres who's up to 96 in San Antonio area up to 96 with two pluses. And then there's Alex Kranzler who just had his first start the other day, who's blown the cover out or thrown through the crap out of the ball at 94, 95, but he just had his first start, in New Jersey. So, then you got a kid like Cooper Pratt who's going to go in the first 20, or a kid like Zane Adams who's 6'5" up to 94 with breaking balls, and you got to wonder who's saying what because that's where Joe's getting it, right? I'm not giving it to him. That's where he's getting it from. So, Zion Rose is another one that some people have in the first round, and Joe's hearing something else, So where that comes together is up to them. Creative license is important, but that's what the digital arm does. It takes that and it takes the content, gives these guys an additional platform to be seen by eyes they wouldn't normally be seen from, and we go from there.
I'm not Hunter Brown, Drew Gilbert. I would not rank Pedro Leon over Yainer Diaz, but that's just me.
I have nothing to do with it. That is Joe.
I understand. I just haven't. I wouldn't do it. But
I think Yainer Diaz.
That's why everybody does what they do. So,
well, I would agree with you on Yainer Diaz, but we'll leave it there.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up another Extra Bases with Bristol and Booth. Till next time, whenever that is, we'll see you right here. KHOU.com, YouTube, and all your other streaming channels. We appreciate you watching. Till next time.